In addition to Quran du'as and lectures, we also have every day we have a 5 to 10 minute TED-style talk on various topics to be delivered before Maghrib. We hope these talks encapsulate the passion and expertise of the speaker to engage us on an important topic and help us with the spiritual enhancements we experience in Ramadan. Today we're fortunate and honored to have amongst us Hassan Joudi. Hassan grew up in West London and is currently a mechanical engineer in the energy sector. In his spare time, he enjoys writing a blog and volunteering for a variety of community projects. He's also a trustee of the Islamic Unity Society, IUS. Let's welcome him with salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad.
So if it works now. Everyone hear me? So the best time to be out offshore is in the summer when the waters are flat calm, like this. But November is terrible. Really high winds, waves as high as 10 meters crashing on the side of the vessel, rocking us left and right, pitching us forward and back. It's a tough time. It looks more like this. Or from the top, like this. Notice the water crashing over onto the side of the back deck there on the side. If any of you have been out on a ferry, say from Dover to Calais, in really, really rough conditions, imagine that, but 10 times worse, and non-stop for 2 weeks. Fun times. So it was very, very rough. One day I was speaking to the ship captain, big Norwegian fella with a big broad chest and a haughty voice, and he could tell that I wasn't handling the seasickness quite so well that day. And he asked me, Hassan, is it your first time offshore? I told him, yeah, it is. And then he smiled in the way big Norwegian ship captains do, slapped me on the back, and told me, don't worry, Hassan, rough seas make great captains. It was the first time I'd heard of that phrase before, but for some reason it resonated within me. Rough seas make great captains. It refers to how we as human beings grow stronger in adversity. When we're put through challenging situations, asked to do tough tasks, pushed beyond our comfort zones, we find also in those moments the opportunity to grow, to learn, and to become stronger. In psychology, the comfort zone is where everything is familiar, where we're doing our normal routines and habits. We're in autopilot mode. But stepping outside of that into what is often known as the stretch zone, it is only there that we have the ability to discover a little bit more about ourselves that we'd never otherwise be able to discover had we stayed inside of our comfort zones. This simple sketch over here, I believe, illustrates that point nicely. So generally, there's two ways that we can step outside of our comfort zones. We're either forced into it by crisis, whatever life throws upon us, or by choice. We choose to. Let me give you an example. So by choice, for example, I can choose to, say, train for a 10K or a marathon. or I can choose to give a public talk like this to an audience. Didn't have to, but I thought I'd challenge myself. Or say to learn a new language. These are all examples of things we set ourselves targets and goals that we want to achieve. And to do that, we push ourselves, stretch ourselves into our stretch zones in order to reap the rewards and to achieve something higher. What about when we're forced into our stretch zones against our will, and we have to bear with it? For example, losing your job, or not winning that valuable contract, or being forced to work or to study in a city far from home, new people, new places. How will you cope? Or exams, for example, for students. Nobody likes them, but actually exams are quite a useful way of getting us to revise all that material we spent the whole year learning. And most of us probably wouldn't actually do that, go through that review exercise, if it wasn't for the pressure of exams. So even if we're forced into our stretch zones, in those opportunities we're still gaining, we're still learning. Let me now give you an analogy. The analogy is this: fasting. The fasting that you and millions of other people across the world are currently doing as part of the month of Ramadan is a step outside of our comfort zones and into our stretch zones. Would you not agree? And let's be honest, it's challenging. It's not easy. It's not a walk in the park. And most people in the world, let's be honest, if we didn't have to, if it wasn't made compulsory upon us, probably wouldn't do it. Let's be honest. Few people would voluntarily choose to abstain from food and drink during daylight hours for 30 consecutive days. But here's my question to you. And this is a question for you each to answer individually. I'm not going to ask for a show of hands. It's for you to consider personally. Do we fast in the month of Ramadan because we have to, or because we want to? Is it because God tells me to, or because I want to challenge myself to achieve something higher? I believe the way that we view our fasting makes a huge impact on the benefit that we'll each get out of it at the end of the month. So for example, if I truly am fasting because I want to, then when I hear my stomach growling as it's getting closer towards iftar time, as it is now, sunset, I no longer think, oh, I can't wait for iftar so I can break my fast. Instead, we think, yes, this is the sound of my body detoxing. When the month of Ramadan is approaching, we no longer think, oh my God, Ramadan's coming, beware, it's going to be hard, long days, everyone going into hibernation mode. Instead, we think, yes, this is what I've been waiting for the past 11 months, my once-in-a-year opportunity to get a spiritual boost and to challenge myself to achieving something higher. When we feel the thirst in our mouths, we welcome it, saying, even though I know that water is precious, now I can truly appreciate the value of water when I drink it, because feeling something is different to just knowing it. It's hard, but just like the soldier who was put through a boot camp so that he or she may come out stronger at the other end, we are put through the boot camp of the month of Ramadan so that we may come out stronger by the time it is Eid. I believe that the month of Ramadan is Allah's, our creator and sustainer's way, at least once per year, of pushing us outside of our comfort zones, stretching us into new territory, and encouraging us to grow, to learn, and to discover more about ourselves and to become stronger. And crucially, to carry through that higher level of inner strength for the rest of the 11 months of the year until the month of Ramadan next year. After all, who is going to be stronger? The person who spends their whole life floating in blue waters or calm seas? or the person who every now and then goes out in choppy waters or in rough seas, putting themselves to greater difficulty and hardship, and returns to tell the tale. As my Norwegian ship captain told me the first time that I went offshore, rough seas make great captains. Thank you for listening.
Just a few announcements in the next few minutes. We are very fortunate to have some young people from St. George's School in Jerusalem who will be delivering a talk on the situation in Palestine after 10:30, after iftar, so please do stay later on. We do encourage everyone to donate generously every evening. Costs us £800 for iftar, so please do donate generously. There is parking. If you find it difficult to find parking, please recognize there is parking in the station car park around the corner. If you'd like to find out where, please ask a member